So guys, it's been 5 days and I did not expect this at all. I didn't expect that my changes would have such an immediate impact. What's up everyone? Kevin from Epic Gardening here. We're hanging out with the dragon fruit. There have been 2 videos about the dragon fruit so far. This video is taking a look after a few more months of growth and seeing, can we make some changes in our care of this plant to potentially induce flowering? It's September right now. The flowering and fruiting phase is coming to a close, and I want to see if there's a potential to even get one flower off this dragon fruit in its early life. Now, if you remember the early video, I planted from 2 small cuttings, and you'll see over here in the corner what those looked like in October of last year, and then it's grown considerably since then. So we're gonna make some changes. Stay along with me. If you have trouble with your dragon fruit flowering, we're gonna go through some things that might be an issue, and we're doing a live test on this dragon fruit right here. Our first issue could be fertilization, and so what we're gonna do is add a little bit of organic feather meal, which is a high nitrogen fertilizer around the base of this plant, and then we're also going to water in with a high phosphorus and potassium liquid organic fertilizer. So we're gonna give it a nice deep drink, and throughout the growing season I've been watering this twice a week in summer because, you know, it is a cacti, but it does prefer a good amount of water. This is a really large pot, so I'm gonna let it kind of sink in a little bit, and we're gonna wait and water again. So I call it the water, wait, water technique, just to make sure that you're not straight up pouring water through a soil medium. You wanna let it absorb, and then you come in with a little bit more of a water. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we give it a nice little boost of fertility during the growing season, especially with a little bit more phosphorus and potassium, because we want to make sure that it's going to put out flowers, or at least give it the opportunity to put out flowers. So now that we've given our dragon fruit a nice healthy water, a little boost of fertility, we have to look at how the plant has grown. So one thing that dragon fruits tend to like as far as their traditional cultivation is growing them up a stake or a trellis and then letting them fall down. And so I've done a bit of a hybrid of that approach here. So I've got a stake coming up, but as soon as it hits my balcony railing, I just let it fall down, because that's the economics of my space, and that's probably what's gonna work better. And so these stem pieces that are closer towards the sun and getting a little more sun access, those are the ones that are more likely to throw out flowers and fruit. Those are the ones I really want to focus on and highlight. So what I'll do now is comb through my dragon fruit stems and prune off any that are in the back that are really not getting a ton of sun and are sort of just sucking vegetative growth out of the plant. And then I'll also take out any lateral shoots. So we just got to bust our pruning shears out and get to work. So I've identified this piece of stem tissue here and this stem offshoot right here as pretty good candidates for pruning, because both of these are in the back of the plant. You can see the sun is coming in. This is south over here. Over here, they're just starting to come out, and I'd rather take these and propagate them and give them to friends or family than I would to allow them to remain. So I'm gonna come over here, and we're just going to give it a quick chop here. And if we want to propagate these, we would actually want to take this off right here and make a cutting just about right there. And then you would let this section dry, and then from there you could go ahead and pot it up and you get a nice cutting. So this amount here is what I ended up taking off the plant, mostly just pruning from the back where it's not going to get a lot of sun. Like I said, over here, not a lot of sun throughout the day, and focusing most of the growth to be falling over the balcony here. And we're going to hope that that spurs the plant to divert a little more energy into producing both vegetation and fruits and flowers on this side of the plant where it's getting more favorable growing conditions. So we finished pruning our dragon fruit in an effort to spur on some new growth and some fruiting and flowering. Now, the other thing that can potentially cause a lack of flowering is just not the right growing conditions. So if temps drop below about 65 degrees, it's really not going to produce a flower, and you'll have to wait until next year to give it another shot. Sometimes you can also, in spring, not water it as much, and that may induce flowering as you move into summer. That's something I've yet to experiment with because it's fall right now, but we took some cuttings. We have prepared these cuttings. I'll release a future video on the process of getting a cutting off your dragon fruit, preparing it, letting it dry, rooting it, etc. So guys, it's been 5 days and I did not expect this at all. I didn't expect that my changes would have such an immediate impact, but we have 5 buds that have formed on this one particular stem of dragon fruit. So I wanted to show you this because it's It's gonna be a while before these actually turn into dragon fruit themselves, but to get buds after such a short time period, both in cultivating the plant from cuttings, but also just making those changes you just saw is pretty darn crazy. So here you can see, this is how they show up. There's just these little buds, and then as soon as the dragon fruit actually creates that flower and then pollinates, then you've got 50 days from there until the fruit is fully mature. But take a look, you can see the early development here, looking very beautiful. And as we zoom out, that's the only one that has them. But hey, I'll take 1 over 0, especially in the first year of this plant's growth. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the dragon fruit saga as it unfolds. Highly encourage you to watch part 1 and part 2 of this series, but part 3 is coming to a close. I'm going to keep monitoring this. If you'd like to see more regular updates, you can always follow me on Instagram at Epic Gardening, but there will be a part 4 as soon as we get the flowers, and probably a part 5 once we pollinate and that fruit starts to set. So stay tuned, good luck in the garden, and keep on growing.